Where is Scooter?
I think he's just being a little butthurt, little bee-all.
I don't even know if he's going to show up.
Well, I mean, if he doesn't show up, here's what everyone needs to prep for.
Teddy is. Don't you knock Teddy down, Johnny.
He might be.
He's not starting. You can't
He
say.
might be.
Say.
All right, Scoots. All right, dude. I swear, you better pray to everything that the Packers do not beat the Cowboys. They beat the Cowboys. Stay by your phone. Stay by your phone, Scoots. I'm just gonna let you know.
It's going dial tone.
All
You're going straight to voicemail, Tom.
I'm going to pick up that phone and I'm going to say, y'all would have won if you had Teddy Bridgewater.
Welcome, everybody, to a wonderful Thursday edition of Clickbait Sports. The most perfect weekend of wild card football occurred, and we are all here to dunk on one Scooter Magruder. I am your Walmart Joe Coy, 5 Points Vids. We are joined by this man right here, Tom Grossi. How you doing, Tom?
I'm great.
He is so good. Look at him with that jacket on, looking dapper. We are also joined by Brandon Perna. How you doing out there in Colorado today?
I'm good.
You're looking pretty
just
good.
waiting. I'm just waiting.
And then we have UrinatingTree, whose team did suffer a loss, but we all kind of expected that.
Yeah,
How are you
even
doing?
I'm doing okay. Steelers are just probably going to be doing the same stuff as usual. But let's be real here. We're not here to mock me. We're already there. We're mocking a certain individual that kept talking a lot of shit throughout the year, and it's time to pay up.
It is time to pay up.
You guys want to hear a joke before we start out?
Okay, yes. I would like to hear a joke.
The Dallas Cowboys. The gift that keeps on giving.
Oh. Woo! All right, Scooter. Let's bring him in. Let's go.
Center stage.
Him in. Hi, Scooter. You look sad, buddy.
You're going to talk about it, buddy.
You look terrible.
We're going to talk about it.
You don't look happy.
I don't want to talk about it.
He does not want to talk about it. So what we are going to do tonight for this show, we are going to all get about a 1-minute roast in on you, Scooter. And then you will be allowed to respond, and we'll just mute you the whole time. So I'm going to call on Brandon first. Why don't you give us your best minute of material to roast Scooter and the Dallas Cowboys?
I mean, what can I say that Taylor Decker hasn't already said to Scooter on Twitter directly? Did Mike McCarthy forget to report as eligible to be fired, Scooter? Did he forget to report? And now Jerry Jones had no reason, no excuse to move on from one Mike McCarthy. Now, I don't even think Mike McCarthy is that bad. I just think the Cowboys played as well as they possibly could have this entire season. They had as much hope and as much optimism with an improved defense. Offense was it the top scoring offense in the NFL? Second top scoring offense? And they still got the exact same results. And that might sound promising, but you had the best version of your team you could ask for, and they still lost in the first round to the Packers. Now, the Packers might go on and win this. You better pray the Packers win this week, because if the 49ers embarrass the Packers, then what do you do, Scooter? How can you blow up something that nobody wants to blow up? this comment I saw about a minute ago.
God hates flying. It's a sin.
And
Oh, no.
I'm not gonna go down that path right now, Scooter.
Eat the
$500
mac.
donation.
$500.
I
There's
mean,
just-
that, you got to make it count, dude.
I hope it was to Scooter though. That
It's
would
not
just
to, yeah.
It ain't me.
It ain't me, and I'm
no,
happy.
Scooter. You are
That's
getting.
great because
so
I already know
punished.
Scooter's punishment too.
Oh,
I already
yes.
know Scooter's punishment.
I mean, I think we should all have a punishment for this
Yeah.
week.
What?
Even
We should have to do every single one because he's gonna get a lot of moolah.
We're
Yeah.
done.
you
No,
just,
we ain't
I'm,
done.
what I was
We
trying to
ain't done.
say
We just started, man.
is this was your guys' window. You're not going to get better. The team's just not going to get better, and you're going to lose even worse next year. Yeah, you can't. You probably can't think that that can happen. But it's going to get worse from here. It's going to get worse. That's all. But maybe that's the silver lining. It was
We'll see
pretty
how it
bad,
goes.
and now you know how bad it can be, and you're prepared for it to be just as bad.
We will let Tree go next. Tree.
Mhm.
We're going to end with Tom, by the way.
He's not prepared for a roast.
He was not prepared. to roast.
Anybody was.
I didn't know this was going to be happening like this.
Oh,
That's-
it's going to be a fantastic roast, though. Honestly, this
Mm-hmm.
roast is as delicious as a bottom round roast I made just last night. It was absolutely delicious. I do want to say one thing. You lost to the back. Ow. Ow, it hurts. It hurts so bad. Ah! How about them Cowboys?
You do realize the Steelers lost as well.
I don't care. We expected to lose. You lost to a 7th seed for the first time in NFL history. You are legends, my friend. And I'm going to be quite frank. I think Mike McCarthy should be the permanent head coach. He did the greatest coaching job for the Packers that he has ever done. And that was a clinic, a master class. Dan Quinn, supposedly great defensive coordinator. He chokes like he's back in Atlanta. Like, what happened there? I do want to say, like, I mean, honestly, like, Scooter, there's a part of me that feels bad for you because, honestly, I've been in the situation you are where you look so far, you pass your opponent, you're in a different state. Pittsburgh, Jacksonville, 2017. And you came out flat, you got punched in the mouth, and unfortunately now they're at the point where it's like they don't want to change anything. And, well, you're probably going to deal with the same thing next year. You're going to have this big year. You bring in these stars. You're going to be talking all year about how this is our year, this is our year, this is stuff like that. And we just repeat the same thing in January. And unfortunately, I think what needs to happen is you need to be detoxed from the Cowboys addiction. And I know, unfortunately, a few reality there. And I'm going to be quite frank. I'm worried for you, Scoots. I'm worried for you.
I think Tree just gave the greatest insult. Is it worse that we actually feel sorry for you, Scooter? That's the worst insult of all.
That was the worst loss in Cowboys history.
Yeah, we feel bad for you. That's how bad it is. Oh,
All right.
We're laughing, half pity at this point. Because now it's like Jerry Boy realizes that you're keeping Mike McCarthy, which is the ultimate insult. Especially since the playoffs were supposed to dictate how he fared later on and his future security.
I just want to say a few words. A few words.
Go ahead, sir.
Now, I just did a video where I went through all of the playoff failures of the Dallas Cowboys for the last 28 years. That means that if you were born in 1995, 96, you have grown up, had probably started, a career by now, maybe had 1 or 2 children, and I've never seen the Cowboys in an NFC championship game. You've got a substantial 401k at this point, and you have not seen the Cowboys even get close to an NFC championship game. Now, the thing that happened on Sunday was that the Cowboys, they looked, or was it Monday? Was it Saturday or Sunday? I don't even remember. It was so good. Sunday. You look great. AT&T was popping. It was a sellout, of course. And you folded up like a lawn chair. You didn't even come out swinging. You got punched in the mouth. We're down on the mat and never got back up. By the time that you realized what was going on, it was 27-0. That game was so over and so quickly. You did make a little comeback effort at the end of the second half or first half, but that was just kind of Pyrrhic, you know? The score, it was so much worse than the score indicated. Yeah, it was within 2 scores. That game was a blowout. And the best thing to happen was I wake up yesterday and I check my Twitter and Mike McCarthy is coming back in my video.
No.
I actually gave Jerry Jones some credit. As a GM, he's hit on some picks. He's done really well putting together a roster that can win games in one season, the regular season, not the postseason. And it's just so indicative that he does not care about winning a championship, that he will just bring back McCarthy. Remember, you stuck with Jason Garrett for how long? Was it 7 years, 8 years, 9 years, I believe. Jason Garrett was the head coach. Mike McCarthy is going to be there for 15 years and no Super Bowls. So enjoy, Scooter. I love you, but the pain is real. The pain is real. And I will now throw the football down to Tom Grossi. It's your turn, buddy.
Thank you, Five.
We're putting this in full screen.
Oh, no, please bring Scooter back on the screen.
Oh, yes,
Yeah,
I
thank
will.
you.
Okay,
Yes, you may.
thank you.
Scooter, I want to say that I completely agree with you with what you said last week, because I do think the Packers would have still won if we had Teddy Bridgewater. Because I thought that was going to be a really close game. I thought it was going to be back and forth, but it wasn't. It was 27-0 before you knew it. They scored 1 touchdown in the entire first half. And I think just going forward, because we've already talked, right? I've already done the clowning. I've already done the roasting. You're already keeping Mike McCarthy. The roast has happened enough. But I think now, in the future, when you even contemplate for 1 second thinking that you're going to beat the Green Bay Packers in the playoffs or maybe even the regular season, maybe, just maybe. Just keep it a little bit close. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Because now, I mean, the Packers have more playoff wins in your stadium than you. We won a Super Bowl in that stadium. And while it was Aaron Rodgers' team for a very long time, that has now gone to Jordan Love. And I want to then extend it to the rest of you that out of all the clickbait teams, I lost to every single one of you. I lost to Tree. I lost to Brandon. I lost to Five. The one team that the Green Bay Packers beat, because I heard it all year. I had to get clowned on by every single one of you. The one team, Dallas Cowboys. And for that, it's been a great season.
I think it's a victory for all of us.
Are you guys done?
I think so.
You guys
Yeah.
good?
For now.
Are we
Got it
good?
all out?
Okay.
Listen, the only one here who can say anything to me is TDG, Thomas Daniel Grossi. The rest of you, what are y'all even talking about? The Broncos are in a worse situation than the Cowboys.
We actually beat the
Giants-
Cowboys with Teddy Bridgewater.
The
Remember?
Giants are in a worse situation.
Pretty
than-
bad, if I recall.
The Steelers are in a worse situation than the
No,
Cowboys.
actually, we're in the same situation in the Cowboys. You're on a
have
crystal of
gone
content.
12-5 the past 3 seasons and are bringing back Mike McCarthy. Do I agree with it? I actually do agree with this because I think we're close. And if you look at what happened in that game, to me, Mike McCarthy played scared. Dan Quinn played scared. We just reverted to what we were doing in the 49ers game, and we got blown out because of it. We've never played zone before like that in the past 8 games. What are we doing? Why are we running the ball to Tony Pollard on 1st and 2nd down in shotgun formation? We literally played scared that whole game, and this is the result. We were out of character, and that's what we get for playing like scrubs. We get blown out. Now, I'll take my lumps. But for y'all to sit around here and try and clown me when your teams are garbage, the Giants, I know 5 isn't saying a singular thing to me. We'll be fine. All right. We'll be fine. We'll figure it out.
Okay.
You think Jerry Jones will be you said we're bringing in all these stars earlier, Tree. That's not the case at all. We have not done what the Matthew Stafford Rams did. They went all in. We have not gone all in since we made that terrible trade for Roy Williams back in the day. Jerry Jones has been afraid to make any big splashes. But I think because of
they traded a first for Amari Cooper, though. That was a big splash.
And then we ended up trading him for a 5th. What I'm saying is I think this loss will cause Jerry Jones to go out there and try and make a big splash. I think he's going to push all his chips in. This is the last season for Mike McCarthy to get it done. And I think we're going to see something positive come out of something very negative. That's all I have to say. Tom, I'm actually rooting for you guys to beat the 49ers and then get destroyed in the NFC Championship game. So go Pack, go for the NFC for the 49ers game. But it is what it is at this point. We got dog walk in AT&T Stadium. We'll be back though. It's not like the NFC is strong. Our competition might be the 49ers still, and they're going to have to pay some people soon. Go ahead.
The 49ers just beat you?
Listen,
They crushed them.
There's a curse that's going on with the Green Bay Packers. I can't pinpoint what it is. Jerry Jones might himself be cursed. I don't know. But as far as going forward, I'm not really afraid of the Packers if this happens again, especially if we're not playing in Dallas for some reason.
Scooter, at what point do we just take a look? I mean, we beat you last year and we sucked.
Like
we
I
didn't
said,
even make the playoffs last year, and you were one of the few teams that we beat in overtime. Like,
as long as we don't play the Packers or 49ers, we can easily win the NFC. That's what I'm going.
So my question is, at what point, because you talk about going all in and all this stuff, at what point do you look around, because you mentioned your franchise just being cursed? Why can't you win against the Green Bay Packers, in your opinion?
It's the cheese. They're like, obviously, you guys are eating super powered cheese from Wisconsin. I have no idea why we can't beat the Packers. I really don't. It could be a mental thing. I have no idea. But if you look at that game, we played so out of character. We were throwing short it was terrible to watch.
The check downs.
Exactly. We literally played like the 49ers game. We did not play how we've been playing all season. I think that's why we lost.
I just want to go back to that. So if your team did not play the way that they normally play, right? Who is to blame for that?
I think
you don't have to answer. You don't have to answer because we all know the answer. Yeah, it's Mike freaking McCarthy, who is supposed to get his team prepared, who is supposed to orchestrate a game plan that plays to your strengths, and there was none of that. Why did Dak not throw the ball deep once? That was hard to watch. The amount of checkdowns that occurred, he didn't even start he might as well have just thrown into double coverage because it was so ugly to watch. And but that's brings me back to the point is that if Mike McCarthy and Dan Quinn, and I don't even know who your offensive coordinator is,
Mike McCarthy, pretty much.
Yeah, if it's on
Brian
them
Schottenheimer
to prepare the team, right? And everyone on earth knows this who watched that game. Why are they coming back? That makes no sense.
They're
literally no sense.
They're coming back because we've gone 12-5. We are one of the top teams during the regular season. It's just we got to figure out the postseason. That's why they're coming back. If we were to blow it up, if Dak didn't have a no trade clause and we were going to say, all right, let's start over, Mike McCarthy wouldn't be here. But this is the last-ditch effort. We're bringing everyone back, and we're going to see, can we get it done in the postseason next year? That's why he's coming back. Otherwise, we might have looked at a Bill Belichick.
So
We're
is
not
that what
starting
you
over.
did
We're not starting over.
3 years ago or 2 years ago or last year? Are those all the same things that you did the previous couple years? Because didn't Tom warn you about Mike McCarthy? I thought there was like something where Tom was like, this guy is kind of like a fraud or something like that.
I never
Or-
said he was a
or-
fraud.
well, I
mean,
would say a fraud, but like he warned you about the things that he does that frustrate you as a fan.
time management, play calling at times, 100%. I mean, I think when it comes to like McCarthy, he is a good head coach, but I think again, like his flaws, and Brandon and I were talking about this with every playoff team, like their flaws are going to be heightened, when they lose, obviously, because the season's over. But at the same time, like when it comes to McCarthy, if I was a Cowboys fan, like there would be a legit worry of like, I'm not seeing actual changes, right? Like we can go out and get this guy and this guy and this guy, but at the end of the day, like nothing's changing from every single playoff game. It's like you should show up prepared and you're not. I mean, like, because we looked at Kellen Moore, right? And we like put some of the blame on Kellen Moore and we're like, okay, he's part of the problem too. Well, he's in LA right now. So that wasn't it. Like it seems like we're changing almost everything except coaching. And Dan Quinn did not do a great job either.
He was poor.
And we'll see if you wind up losing him in this offseason. I just think when it comes to going, okay, I hear you. Maybe you go all in, you spend a little bit more money, et cetera, et cetera. Maybe you're aggressive in the draft. Do you have the coach that's going to get you over the hump? I don't know these past few years if I have seen anything that's indicating that. Because they'll do great in the regular season. Hell, Packers did great in the regular season all the freaking time.
I just don't understand. If you take a look at that game, and if you look at how the Cowboys traditionally played during the season, we had pre-snap motion, right? That's when we were playing the best. When we played the 49ers, no motion. When we played the Packers, no pre-snap motion. So it's just like we default to some garbage team that doesn't look like the Dallas Cowboys in the play, and I don't know why. So if we just play how we play like in the regular season, we'll be fine. But
my real question is how much
coach
of this
coming-
is feasting against really bad teams? Because the only teams you beat when they were over 500 were the Seattle Seahawks, and they were on a long losing skid, and the Detroit Lions in an incredibly controversial game. And I know they're going to be stuff about like, oh, you beat the Rams, but they were like 3-6. But how much of this is just, well, the Eagles were still kind of.
We've been 12-5 the past 3 seasons. It's not that we're beating up on bad teams every single year. We've been 12-5 every season.
You're a regular season team. Like that's what it comes down to. Like you are a very good regular season team. You'll have those random games like the Cardinals that you'll lose to. You'll maybe split with the Eagles or something like that. But you'll have a great record. You've had it for the past 3 years. But when you get to, okay, there's only so many teams left, that's when it seems the bright lights come on. And for whatever reason, it's like, let's throw everything out the window.
Mike McCarthy, a good equivalent might be Brian Kelly in college football. Just has never won. I guess not true because he has
McCarthy won a Super Bowl.
But like recently, this man just resembles someone who's, LSU went 9-3, but just never gets it done. Like Jim Harbaugh type situation. Yeah, he won one, but before Jim Harbaugh won that one championship, what has he done? So I think it would be like as if Jim Harbaugh had 8 more seasons and didn't win anything. And that's where we are with Mike McCarthy. He's proven that he can get us there to the playoffs. We can get home field advantage for 2 games, but we can't even win at home.
Did it make you feel better knowing that the Eagles arguably played worse?
That was what I was going to transition to.
It did make me feel better because they were talking elite trash on the Cowboys, only for them to turn around and play even worse. At least we got in double digits. Jalen Hurts looked terrible without A.J. Brown. So
Are you happy that your team was much more effective in garbage time?
Yes, they're saying Dak, Prescott. Listen,
Pat Scott. I really reaching for that one.
Here we go.
let me ask you something, Tom. Was there?
Dak Stat, Pad Scott.
Were you at one point a little bit nervous when we were making that comeback in the fourth quarter, was there any part of it where you guys put your starters back in, any nerves at all?
There's a little, but once they put Love back in, I was a lot less nervous because Love absolutely moved the ball whenever he wanted to on that defense. I mean, like legitimately, there was no stopping him.
I don't know.
Like it, I have never, and I've watched football for a long time. You all have watched football for a long time. I don't know if I've ever seen anyone as open as Luke Musgrave. I don't like that was
in a playoff game,
and
Holy
it wasn't even a
Christ.
great throw. Like it was just under pressure right there like that, and he just like, all right, we're just gonna throw it up there, and he is just sitting there, caught it, full stop, and then he's like, all right, I guess I'll run into the end zone now.
Yeah, Dobbs got open. We saw that in the Texans Browns game too. There's a few plays where just like if all season I felt like we watched really good defenses limit good offenses, and midway through the season we were complaining about the games are all kind of low scoring, they're kind of ugly, and then playoff weekend, all of these defenses that were supposed to be good just got it handed to them. Like the Browns defense looked horrible. The Cowboys defense looked horrible. The Eagles defense just refused to like tackle at all. Like it was the complete opposite of what we watched all year.
Some of that is also like injuries coming to roost, like in Cleveland. Philadelphia have been playing bad for a long time. Like
Right.
their linebacking core was bad. Matt Patricia was calling plays, and that was just a masterclass of suck by Philadelphia. Dallas, there's just no excuse for. That's the issue.
The excuse for Dallas is our linebacker core has been decimated for a long time, and we did not make the necessary changes. We had an opportunity to address this. We didn't. We've been playing our safeties a lot as linebackers. You look at like a Marquise Bell. This man's my height, my weight. This is a linebacker who's playing. And Van Der Esch went down. And so we just did not address the linebacking situation, which is why Aaron Jones was able to easily run us over. You look at multiple plays. Our linebackers are not where they should be. We have Jaron Kearse, safety, a lot of the times playing in the linebacker position. I think that's something we'll target in the offseason, and I think that's something we would have done differently if given the opportunity.
I want to ask Tom. Well, first of all, there was a player this weekend that was more wide open. That was David Moore on that 44-yard touchdown pass from Baker Mayfield, where two Eagles ran into each other.
Two Eagles and the rest didn't
freed
tackle
him up. And then
He wasn't
later
more
in the,
open, but
Yeah,
Yeah.
it wasn't open,
But-
but I get what you mean. Yeah, he.
but-
oh no, the
Later-
David Moore play. Yeah.
in the first and then later in that same play, two Eagles ran into each other again near the goal line. It was so beautiful. Like I've never seen something happen where it was like, remember when those two Florida players were blocking each other, Scooter? Remember that highlight reel? I think that was pretty sad. That's what happened on that play. So I'm not going to leave the Eagles out from this dunking as well. As a Giants fan, like they deserve to get piped as well.
I will say this. The players feel like they let Mike McCarthy down as well. Like if you look at the Eagles, I don't know if it's like the Eagles are loving their Nick Sirianni as much as our players are loving Mike McCarthy. Because when he was announced that he was coming back, a lot of the players did come to his defense. All right, let's run it back. We failed him. You look at Nick Sirianni, some of the rumors I've been hearing, these players are not for this man as much. They have been chirping that they should have gotten a new offensive coordinator. A lot of the players have been saying that they weren't happy with how they weren't taking shots over the middle of the field and they were just going for home run balls all the time. So it's going to be interesting to see the dichotomy with how Nick Sirianni, if he does in fact get retained, how that plays out.
I think the Cowboys and Eagles should just trade head coaches this year.
Nick Sirianni.
It's a straight up trade. McCarthy for Sirianni. Let's see what happens.
Absolutely not.
Let's see what happens.
The other thing I want to ask you, Tom, you watched the game with your dad. Were the Packers giving exotic coverages? Like, I'm sure it was a 2 safety look, but like, what prevented the deep balls so much? Was it just Dak being too scared to throw the ball, or was there something different in that secondary?
Well, that's the thing that makes it weird, because I think the coverage was very good. I mean, Jair, who they didn't even know if he was going to play, he played really, really well.
It was
I think when he
pass interference.
say again.
It was a defensive pass interference. I'm just saying.
I mean, you have even wide receivers saying it wasn't. It wasn't just Richard
It's a
Sherman.
defensive pass interference.
Okay, but that would have okay. You would have gotten another touchdown. So at that point, I think it was a mix of a couple things. We got after Dak a decent amount, but there was times where he had plenty of time to throw. I thought it was always just more of the play calling by the Cowboys. You know, whether the coverage was really good or not, it just seems like they did not want to take a deep shot, and it was more checkdowns than anything. And I mean, listen, I'll take it all day, but at the end of the day, like they also didn't really establish the run at all. Like they didn't really attempt a whole lot. And Aaron Jones just ran all over them. And now at some point, I get it. When you're down 27-0, you know, you can't really run the ball. But there was never that like urgency of like, hey, we're down 27-0. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, like they were still running it in the third quarter when it was like, okay, let's try and get back in this. And they're like, all right, let's hand it off. Like the time management was bad. The play calling was bad. I think that more than anything was like the worst part, while also giving credit to the Packers defense because they did play well.
There were a lot of like red flags about McCarthy's like games as well. For example, when he played Seattle, like he tried to chuck it deep instead of running clock out. In Detroit, same thing that led to that comeback to begin with, and not just the holding penalty, but remember he chucked it deep on like 2nd and long, and it was like we were all sitting there like what? And that's the problem. Like I feel like they were kind of like dancing through raindrops and they couldn't anymore. And I'm shocked as much by that result, if we're being honest here, but it's just like, I don't know where you go from here. I really don't.
You run it back,
5, and
you get aggressive in free agency.
And the problem is when Jerry Jones and aggressive come into play, things don't turn out too well.
Jerry.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean,
You can sign James Bradbury. All right. Let's go through these other games real quick and then look forward to next week because this was
Let's just look forward. Let's just look forward.
You don't want to?
Why
Okay. All right. Let's go.
Yeah, nobody wants to hear about the Steelers. Come on.
I guess
I
we
mean-
could, yeah. Tree, you went in with no expectations like Tom, and then your expectations, unlike Tom, were
Never. I mean,
Yeah.
I was somehow still let down because I mean the Steelers made mistakes. That was the problem. George Pickens fumble, bad interception in the red zone, and honestly, they shouldn't have been there. I mean, it kind of really played out. Buffalo was a significantly better team in a lot of aspects. So, I mean, credit to them. But at the same time, I feel like if you're like for the Steelers, it's just like you're on the carousel like over and over. It's like I know they're going to say like, okay, well, I mean, Tomlin's going to bring in outside help for offensive coordinator. They're going to bring in competition for Kenny Pickett. I'll believe it when I see it happen because the fear to me is like they're just not going to change anything. They're going to run it back and we'll just be like the 8th seed or the 7th seed that gets blown out in the first round. And I think that's my fear, that they're just going to be complacent, and they can't be. Like they have to be bold and they have to be aggressive.
what would
And
that
they
look like
won't.
to you?
Who would you rather have as your quarterback next year? Justin
Ooh.
Fields or Russell Wilson?
I feel like the problem is they're probably bringing a vet for competition's sake. So honestly, they might go for Russell Wilson, as weird as it sounds. Because
For
I feel like it
business?
would be either
For
him.
business, you
or
want Russ, my
Dalton.
friend.
I mean, maybe. I mean, here's the
Steelers
thing. I'm not that
country.
crazy about Russ Wilson because, like, he did not look that great in, like, the offensive performances of Denver. Like, I mean, he was just, like,
Well,
a lot
I know.
of short passes, a lot of inconsistency, and he's backup caliber right now, which is why the
No.
Steelers might bring him in as a backup.
Do you know who would be perfect? Joe Flacco. Yes, bring him back.
Oh my God! What if
I
he
mean,
just does
honestly,
the
it would
whole
be either him,
AFC North
Flacco, or
tour?
Dalton. Dalton. Bring him
Like,
back for Cincinnati.
So we're talking about kind of complacency because, like, talking to Tree too, and just talking to Steelers fans in general, like that seems to be the overwhelming fear. It's like, oh, this season was a success because it was a winning season. We made it into the playoffs, but
and
I
they
feel
won
like
in
that's
spite of a lot of
what it
instances, too.
always is too, though. Like, oh yay, so we get a worse draft pick. I'm never advocating for tanking. Of like, hey, you know,
They're
we're
never
gonna
gonna
worse
tank.
draft pick. It's gonna be difficult to make moves, and like nothing's really gonna change. So I think that's the frustration. But I think when it comes to Scooter, you know, we're talking about coaching and all that great stuff too. But this also, like, we're talking about an organizational issue. At what point, and I know Cowboys fans have already brought it up in the chat, at what point do you look at Jerry Jones and, like, he loves that team? Don't get me wrong. Like, he loves the Dallas Cowboys, right? And he wants to win a ring. But at what point do you also look and just be like, maybe he's a little bit too involved? Because like everything coming out of the draft room is like, oh yeah, everyone can speak, all the scouts and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, it also is like down to Jerry Jones, who can make, yeah, I kind of like this person a draft. Like, do you like legitimately, Scooter? I'm not trying to clown at all. Like, is that also a part that's holding the Cowboys back?
I don't think the drafting players is. If you look at who we've drafted, traditionally we've come through and hit on a lot of players in our draft. Will McClay is really the guy who's running the show behind the scenes. It's not really Jerry Jones when it comes to drafting. I think you have to take into account what some of the former players have said when it comes to the culture of the Dallas Cowboys. Like, I
Is
forgot.
it actually damn good, like Bruce Allen and the Redskins? Is it
No.
that kind of culture?
I think it was Marcus Spears who was saying that. I don't know if it was Marcus Spears, but he was saying that some former player was saying that whoever's coaching the Cowboys comes in with a disadvantage because you always have to deal with Jerry Jones, and you have that lingering in the back of your head at all times that no matter what you do, you always are going to have that feeling of the pressure of being America's team, the pressure of Jerry Jones behind you. And so I think it's more of that than like player personnel, because player personnel, apart from this last draft, we have hit a lot on our picks. Micah, Tyron Smith, Zach Martin. That's all Will McClay's doing right there. So I wouldn't say player personnel. It's just more like a culture thing that it's pressure. It's pressure. And it's more pressure than any other team because of Jerry.
Yeah, well,
then in that case, wouldn't that be a problem?
No, that's what I'm saying. That as opposed to him being involved.
So
with
not the
players.
personnel, it's more of just the expectations that are there because you're the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah. And Jerry Jones as your.
Well, it's time to lower expectations. Maybe that will help everything.
No. This is it. I've been seeing everyone saying Mike McCarthy is pre-fired. This is the first. He's the most pre-fired coach there is. So, again, it's do or die.
Nothing to lose. Let's see those big
I
balls.
don't see that though. I think if you have the exact same season next year, he comes back.
If we go 12-5 and lose in the first round, he will be gone. That's basically
no. But you said that before. Like that's what happened. You've lost to the.
I think it's next year. Yeah, I think Scooter's right when it comes to like it's literally one more shot. I'm arguing I don't even think he deserves that one more shot.
Neither. I don't know.
No, we know that because we're thinking logically. But Jason Garrett went 8-8 3 years in a row.
It's because of Dak's contract. We can't move on from Dak if we wanted to. He's $60 million on the books this year with no trade clause. So it's all these things formulate Mike McCarthy coming back. One more shot.
There's another question though. Do they extend Dak Prescott this offseason? Because the rumor is he's going to want $60 million.
You have to extend him. He's already on the books for $60 million. So you're not going to want to count that against the cap for this year. You're going to have to extend him. And again, he has all the leverage. He has a no trade clause. And I mean, you can smile and think Dak isn't the quarterback, but
he did well this year.
When you look at the quarterbacks, in the NFL, he's a top quarterback. And top quarterbacks are hard to find.
Mm-hmm.
He's better than. So it's just you're going to
probably
have
10 teams. Yeah, there's 10 teams that would take Dak.
And live by the Dak, die by the Dak.
Mm-hmm.
I respect the decision from Jerry. Actually, I think like it's easy to get lost in it's so easy to see what the public's consensus is and what the media's consensus is. And I think like what we've criticized Jerry for is some knee-jerk reactions in the past that have felt like they've been motivated by those things. And I get like, if Dallas had just lost that game, it's a lot easier to be like, you know what? They played a good game. It's the playoffs. Shit happens. It's so hard to justify it the way that Dallas just got out-coached, outplayed. But for coaches, specifically for head coaches, and for someone who has watched head coach after head coach after head coach come in and fail, they're supposed to fix anything. Like, I would kill to be 12-5 and then be the joke of the playoffs every year. And like what we're nitpicking is Mike McCarthy not being able to figure it out for one or two games at the very, very end of the season, right? Last year they won and then they lost. They won the first one last year, right? And they lost. So to me, it's like 5 years. Is that what his contract was? 5 years? Is this is Mike McCarthy's last year this year on his contract?
Sure. I'm not sure.
But it's like
this is his
play
last
it
year
out.
for McCarthy, though. It is.
Yeah.
It
And
doesn't matter.
unless you actually can get a guy you believe is 100% an upgrade over Mike McCarthy, and we think that guy is Bill Belichick, I would like to believe that based on his history, but I'm not sure he is actually that. I would argue Vrabel is a bigger upgrade, maybe right now, which might be a weird thing to say.
Agreed.
But like, if you're not sure you can land that guy in this cycle, there's a lot of vacancies right now. And obviously the Cowboys would probably be a lot of those guys' first choice. But I think the smarter move, even though it's not popular, is to just do it one more year with McCarthy. If it's the same results, then you got an easy fire and then you move on.
It's like this. Who would be a lot of Cowboys players that said, I'm done with Dak, I'm done with McCarthy. Okay, you're done with that. Who are you gonna bring in if you're done with Dak? What's
Russell
your
Wilson? You guys want Russell
game
Wilson?
plan? No, we don't want Russell. So it's
Do
just
you
like,
get Kirk Cousins?
Who needs a Russell Wilson?
don't
Let me tell you.
understand what they're talking about. Okay, what are we gonna do if we get rid of Dak? He's on the books for $60 million and he has a no trade clause. What are we gonna do? Are we gonna draft a quarterback? Then we're starting over. Now we're rebuilding. We get rid of Mike McCarthy. Who are we gonna bring in? Because then
Sean
we're
McVay.
restarting again. What first-year head coach has gone to the Super Bowl?
Here's the thing, though. Like most head coaches in that scenario, that's not a
Sure, Ronnie.
reset. That's just a refresh. Like you're just bringing
But
in
it
like a new
still
voice,
takes
and that
time.
sometimes benefits.
It still takes time for a coach's culture, for a coach to implement their playbook, to implement their system. That takes time.
That's where mini camp and training camp come into play.
But
What
Scooter's right though.
first-year
Like
head
there is
coach
going to be a
has
lag.
won a Super Bowl. That's all.
John
I'm saying.
Gruden.
There's going to be a lag. I think Scooter's right in terms of just like if you bring in a new coach, because Perna and I were talking about this with the Bears, right? So the Bears, if they go out and get Caleb Williams and they're keeping Eberflus and they wind up firing Eberflus after next season, and then they go, okay, well, we have another young quarterback again who's getting a new coach again, right? It's not great for their development. At the same time, you can acknowledge that, but also recognize that the situation the Cowboys are in is not a great one. You talk about the fact that Dak is owed so much money. You talk about Mike McCarthy not getting these results. And then it goes back to, how did the Cowboys get in this situation? And that's where it comes down to, because we could talk about things aren't going to change, or it's going to be really difficult getting new coaches or new QBs or whatever. And yes, granted. But the only reason we're talking about this right now is because the Cowboys themselves have gotten themselves into this situation.
I don't think we're in a bad spot at all. I think the media is overhyping everything for clicks, for
Yeah,
sensationalism.
I agree with that.
It's
Mhm.
just like
Yeah.
we lost
And
in
we're
the
all
playoffs
profiting from
again.
it.
Okay, you know how many other teams have lost in the playoffs? You know how many teams didn't even make the playoffs? You know how many teams haven't even made the playoffs in multiple years? So it's like everything's just sensationalized.
There
We're
is
going to be fine.
the Cowboys are too good for clicks, and that is a problem for the overreaction, which is also what makes it so entertaining when your team loses.
Yes, it is quite entertaining. That was like watching.
I hate it and I
a
love it all in the same breath.
Tornado. It was like two trains colliding while a tornado and a hurricane were happening, and then it started snowing. Like that was so good. It was amazing.
wild.
Thank you.
I'm actually not more shocked, but I'm still shocked that the Texans advanced in their game. I'm excited to see what they do against the Ravens.
All right, you're not allowed to change the subject. I changed the subject, Scooter.
We've been on this for
Yeah, we can-
45
I know
minutes.
I know it's time to move on, but it
We'll
was
never talk
while it
about the
lasted.
Cowboys this long ever again.
I
That
know.
is my
Yeah,
promise.
they don't
I
give us
hope
a-
to God
Okay.
we don't.
Texans Ravens. Oh, by the way, we were all
Not that
wrong
interesting.
last week. I think all of us got every game wrong except for Tom predicting the Packers would beat the
No, I
Cowboys.
took the Texans.
We were-
I said
we
I
were
believe in
pathetic.
CJ
Okay.
Stroud.
I thought the
Yeah.
Lions would beat the. Did I say the Lions would beat the Rams? I thought I did.
I think we might have been right about the Lions. I don't know who
I said the
Packers
Bills would beat the
are.
Steelers.
Yeah.
So
I'm
You were
pretty sure I
right
got
about
them all
that,
right. I don't
Oh,
want to check,
yeah.
but I think I got every
Only
game
3 and
right.
3.
Yeah,
advance
I mean, who
after
cares?
every game.
Yeah,
6-0,
I don't even remember.
100%.
All right, Texans Ravens. Let's preview this. I think the Ravens steamroll. Lamar is going to they're going to make it easy on the Ravens. Like they're going to simplify the game plan. Not going to do anything exotic. They don't really have to. And yeah, this is the year for the Ravens to put up or shut up. And they better get it done, or else we will be laughing and dunking on them next week.
So, I'm sorry, struggling to beat Justin Fields? When were the Packers struggling to beat Justin Fields? The Bears haven't beaten the Green Bay Packers since a while.
It's kind of like the Cowboys.
And the thing is, like, the Packers
Cowboy
were
insult.
dominating the Bears. Like, the score was deceiving in both games.
Brandon, what do you think about Texans Ravens?
Man, it's so easy to say that the Ravens will win.
Yeah.
I feel like we're going to see one of the two top teams not win. It feels like we're too set on the idea that the Ravens and the 49ers are actually that much better than everybody else. Fudge. The Ravens defense is too good. They're not going to have Marlon Humphrey, we learned today. I think that, stings a little bit. But the Broncos, they competed with Houston, and they got after CJ Stroud. They sacked him 5 times. I think the Ravens, did they finish the season with the most sacks? So as much as I want to take the Texans, I believe CJ Stroud is good enough to upset him. I think he's playing better than Lamar Jackson right now. I'll say that. But I think the Ravens still win. They're so balanced. They're so balanced. Unless Justin Tucker misses a field goal, maybe. But I'm going Ravens.
I think this is the Ravens' year. I predicted Ravens Cowboys. I was wrong on the Cowboys. I think I will be right on the Ravens. I think Zay Flowers goes for over 100 yards in this game and shines. And yeah, I got the Ravens.
Tree?
I mean, I got to go Ravens. I think it's going to be a closer game than usual, but I think the Texans are just too banged up on defense. And I think it's a great story, but the blueprint was made by the Jets how to beat CJ Stroud is just get relentless pressure on him and make him throw in panic. Although that hurts a lot of quarterbacks, but that's the way they're probably going to pounce on him. And I like Mike McDonald as a D coordinator. So I think it's going to be a pretty low scoring affair. And I think in those situations, I think the Ravens come out on top.
I think
Tom?
the Ravens were celebrating this weekend because both AFC North teams got eliminated, because I think that's been the narrative, right? The only teams that can beat the Ravens are teams in the AFC North and themselves. And I think when it comes to the Ravens right now, Perna touched on just how balanced they're playing. Their defense is playing really, really well. Their offense is looking great. Lamar's playing really well. And I think it's also being played in Baltimore. I think that's going to be tough. It's not inside. You're not going to have a home crowd. I like the Texans to do well, but yeah, I have to give it to the Ravens just because I think until proven otherwise, they're the best team in football. And we saw this with the 49ers because we thought they were the best team in football, and the Ravens absolutely dog-walked them. So, I mean, could it happen? Absolutely. I just think the Ravens have shown enough of a resume this season that they can get it done, at home.
Yep. All right, 49ers, Packers. Oh, interesting. That is the second Saturday game. By the way, I love the playoffs because there is Saturday NFL football. I am going to take unfortunately, Tom, the magical ride ends on Saturday at 8:15. The Niners have had a week off to prepare, and I think that's an easy pick. I'll probably be wrong. It'll be funny if I am, but I think the Niners win.
I'm going Packers just because I hate the 49ers more than I hate the Packers.
Respect that pick. Oh, boy.
Brandon.
For Tom's sake, I'm going to pick the 49ers because I picked against them last week. They won. I want the Packers to win. I really do. I want to see a Packers-Lions championship game. I think that's be the most entertaining thing we could all enjoy. So 100% 49ers. Not even close. They're going to smash the Packers.
I say 49ers too. Mostly because I feel like the 49ers own the Packers in the playoffs. And
0-4.
0-4, especially with Aaron Rodgers. And I think, especially with the Packers owning the Cowboys, I think those narratives stay the same. And I think the 49ers end up beating the Packers for some reason. And it's a great ride, but sometimes those rides have to end. Use this year as a great experience and build off that and try to dominate for the division next year. That's the way I see it.
Yeah, I think obviously this season has surpassed, I did say 10 wins, but legitimately the way that Jordan Love has been playing is phenomenal. This team is really gelling together, and even all the stuff just coming out this week, a whole, it seems that now, the media's starting to interview, the Romeo Dobbs of the world, the Jaden Reed of the world, because for a lot, these receivers, unless you're in Green Bay, you don't really know their name. Because there are a bunch of really young guys. Christian Watson, obviously, his name has a little bit of, weight. But I think for this particular week, what's been highlighted is that all these receivers are hey, Jaden Reed, he didn't do anything in terms of receptions against the Cowboys, and he's been one of our best wide receivers all year. And he goes, dude, I don't care if I get no catches and I have to block every single down. I'm going to block. You see, talking to Aaron Jones being I want to block for you. I want to do that. I don't want to let go. And it's kind of the inverse of what's going on with the Steelers, right? Because the Steelers, you had that complete opposite for a while, where it's guys weren't blocking. And so this team, regardless of what happens on Saturday, I think talk about experience in the playoffs, experience under pressure, and in my opinion, this is the worst that the Packers are going to look for a bit. Think about it that way. This is without a secondary. Their safety is all bait up. Shout out to Darnell Savage for the pick 6 last week. And he's had a much better season. But we have Carrington Valentine back there. Did we think a 7th rounder was going to be starting in the playoffs? He played 90 defensive snaps against the Cowboys.
My bloody Valentine. That's what they call him.
At this point, it's going to be a tough game. But at the same time, I'm also looking at it is if they're able to fire off on all cylinders, get a lead like they did against the Cowboys, there's a legit shot they wind up winning. And I know they own Aaron Rodgers in the Packers, but this ain't Aaron Rodgers Packers anymore.
Most important coin toss all week, I think, is that game.
Yeah.
The script.
Okay.
LaFleur script versus Shanahan's script. Whoever gets that offensive drive first.
So I'm not going to sit here and be cocky and be we're going to beat the 49ers or anything like that. But I think besides 2 years ago, this is the most confident I've been about beating the 49ers in about 10 years.
Wow.
Ooh, if you beat, I'll laugh hysterically, though. So you are the kings of comedy, and I'm hoping for the laughs that you beat the 49ers.
I'm hoping.
And if that happens, oh, Lord, they're going to panic.
They legitimately, dude, if I am able to see my team in the NFC Championship game against the Lions, that is going to be insane. But yeah, no, I'm not going to lie. It's going to be a really tough game.
Hopefully it's against the Bucks.
I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, wow. A little hate right there. Speaking of the next game, Scooter now has a personal beef with the Detroit Lions as actual players don't like him anymore. I'm going with the Lions on this one. This is their opportunity to not just win that first playoff game in, 80 years, to actually advance to the NFC Championship game like they did when I was but a young teenager back in 1992. That's how long ago that was. I actually had acne the last time they won a playoff game. This is their golden opportunity, and they have to seize it. Dan Campbell better be feeding them live chickens right now. They've got to get this done. So Lions, I would think, would win this. They will win it if they do by 1 or 2 points, because they have to make it they're not a team that's just going to get out and beat the crap out of another team. They're going to make it hurt for their fans. That's what they do.
I don't know why I don't even know how I ended up in this weird beef with a Detroit offensive lineman, but solely because of this.
You don't know how. You went to their Twitter and talked shit for no reason.
No.
Dude, Scooter, you lost. I
all,
thought that original thing was weeks ago when you played them. And then I realized you said it after the freaking Packers beat you, and you're like, I'm gonna be rooting for you to lose next week after your team
Yep.
just lost in the playoffs. Scooter, there's no platform.
You went out of nowhere
listen.
to be like, I hope.
Listen.
What'd you
Yeah,
even
that was
say?
Let me
It
explain.
wasn't like me. It wasn't super mean spirited or anything like that. But
let me just
you were
explain what I
poking the bear.
Yeah.
Let me
Explain
explain
yourself.
what
You've
happened.
been doing that a lot lately.
Okay. We had lost. I'm upset. All right. Then
Yeah,
you
sure.
got the Detroit Lions over here posting a tweet talking about how they're eligible for the divisional round. You know how long ago that game was? This was 3 weeks ago. Why are you talking about the Cowboys still?
Because you
So
just lost.
Because you lost to them,
Because you
and they
just
should have
lost
beat you
to
in
their
that game.
division rival.
So I say I'm reposting this when you lose next week. Taylor
Yeah,
Decker.
so you poked the bear.
I've got a meme ready. They better win.
Oh, I've got a meme ready for you, Scooter.
They- All I'm saying is be ready, Taylor Decker. Because there's one thing you can't do. You cannot troll a troll. He's already lost by engaging with him. He's already lost. Please
Look
keep
at how many
the
likes
same
or
thing.
responses we're getting in this.
Why would you say cook tree? What are
Because
you
he's got to cook. He's got to cook.
Oh god.
Honestly,
Listen,
would you rather me have responded
Let's-
with this?
Shut up, bitch.
Let's go, Bucks.
Rather me
That's all
respond
I'm
with that.
saying. Hometown team, don't let me down. Come through, Baker. I'm posting multiple memes.
All
How
right.
dare
Did
you.
we all get?
That's
we all
good.
get
That's
some
fine.
predictions
Calls
on Lions
people
Bucks?
bozos in 2024. What time?
Yeah.
All right.
The
Please keep
teams
that
that
same
win
energy,
playoff
Taylor.
games in 2024.
Like a New York Post
Please
headline.
keep that
You
same
bozo.
energy,
Bring Bozo back.
Taylor. I've got the memes ready. Okay.
I got the Lions too.
I got the Lions.
I got
I
the
think it's gonna be a
Lions.
close
Everyone
game, though. I
has
think the
the
Bucks, if they
Lions.
come out looking like they did against the Eagles, dude, they came out looking to play, and it might just be because the Eagles look so bad. But
If their receivers could catch,
Eagles
it would
look
be a
terrible.
40-point game.
Real. They missed like 8 catches that game. Baker was putting it on them.
The Lions are going to give up some passes, but they will tackle after they give up those giant gains.
Real quick, it's interesting because like this reminds me, like with Scooter before, because it reminds me of the Packers. It also just goes to show how important seeding is and how like that could come down to literal luck. Because like Scooter, would you like what other team would you have rather played in the wild card that you would have felt more confident against? Because you felt pretty confident against the Packers.
I don't think any team, I think any team we played, save the Eagles, would have resulted in a similar foolish result because we were just not prepared. We looked out of our element. So I don't even think it would have mattered had we played the Rams, had we played any other team on the road, playing the Bucks on the road. No, because we were just that underprepared and that shell shocked. So I don't really think, I'm not putting too much into that narrative.
Because like the Lions, for example, like they had the 3 seed, right? And of course they were trying to get the 2, but then they would have walked into the Packers and who knows what that results would have been. But like the fact that they get the Buccaneers, I think, you know, then this is no shade against the Bucks. I think that this is like the easiest path to the NFC Championship game that the Lions could have had. You know, the Rams were difficult because they were playing a surging team, but now they get another home game against the Buccaneers, who I think even NFC South teams be like, yeah, you'd want to play them. And the Bucks could still win. But like, especially if the 49ers do wind up losing on Saturday and the Lions have to beat the Packers, a team they already beat once this season, and then they lost the other one. I'm just saying, like it'd be a pretty good path.
How are you gonna say cook underneath that tweet? What?
Gotta cook,
For
baby.
years. It's Perna's idea.
Gotta cook, man. We got cook.
What the heck?
Dalvin Cook.
One
All
last
right. Yes, the Chiefs Bills. This is probably going to be the game of the weekend right here.
I'm so excited for this game too.
I'm very excited for this game. It's in Buffalo. This is Patrick Mahomes' first road playoff game that he's ever played.
Well,
so
send Super Bowls.
yeah, outside of which are neutral site. But this is the first time he's had to go into a hostile environment, and yeah, it's going to be that game. I think this is, the Bill script has been very much arched for them to break through this year. Like, you see, the writers have put together a pretty good script for the Bills. I think that this is the time that they finally actually get into that AFC Championship game and they exact their revenge. So I'm going to take the Bills in a close one.
The Bills are the AFC Cowboys. They will be losing to the Chiefs. The Chiefs are the equivalent of the Packers in this situation. If the Cowboys can't have anything nice, nor can the Bills. All right.
Oh, wow.
Why? Josh Allen. So good.
Yeah. Josh Allen. I need Josh Allen to
The
lose.
Cowboys had Josh Allen. They would have won 2 Super Bowls by now.
Josh Allen won a playoff game.
How
Yeah,
many
he did.
Super Bowls?
He's
Josh Allen?
He's been in
I
an
don't know if
AFC
they won a Super Bowl, but they
championship
make
game.
the NFC Championship.
Josh
Yeah,
Allen
they
has
would,
the same amount of Super Bowl wins as Dak Prescott. That will remain this season. That's all I'm saying.
Josh Allen would have got Jason Garrett a Super Bowl.
Yet he can't get the
I think
Buffalo
so.
Bills a singular one. So let's see how this
Well,
plays.
I mean, my issue with the Bills is how much they got wrecked defensively. They had a lot of injuries. Terrell Bernard. There were a few other guys as well. I mean, they're still without Milano and Tre'Davious White. And that's my question. If the Chiefs can catch, they win. If they can't catch and they have another Kadarius Toney or MVS moment, I pick the Bills.
It's going to be cold. It's going to be
I think
cold.
it's going to be a tight game, and I think the Chiefs end up pulling it off. I don't know why.
Yeah,
Or Taylor Swift.
this is like the hardest game of the week to try and predict for me. Like,
Yep.
I picked the Bills to win, but damn, like Tree brings up the great point of like the injuries that the Bills have.
They
The
have a
home field
lot of
advantage is
injuries
gonna-
last week
The
against
home
the
field
Steelers.
advantage, I think, is going to be insane for the Bills, because if there is one team that Buffalo wants to beat in these playoffs, it is the Kansas City Chiefs. Like, they need, talk about exercising demons. They need to do that even more so than the Packers do. So I did pick the Bills, but damn, I think it's going to be a close game. And if the Bills wind up losing,
They're in panic time.
it's going to be bad.
Oh, what do you like? Is there questions about McDermott? Like,
I
if
think
the
he might get
Bills
fired.
Lose? Like, I
I
mean,
think he did
it's
enough
hard
that
to
comeback to get to the
Yeah.
playoffs, because that was pretty rough. Like, to for what they did to be able to get all the way to the second seed, I think McDermott's safe. But I would be very curious to see what the Bills do from there if that does happen.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. We have made it through. I think everyone has predicted, right? This game. Have you talked,
I have
Brandon? Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I don't care.
I skipped you. My bad.
Yeah. Brandon, say something.
Let me tell you something about these Bills. Yeah, they're gonna get Rasul Douglas back. First of all, that's a guaranteed pick 6.
Rasul.
Guaranteed. Terrell Bernard might be playing through that sprained ankle, so they need him there. I'm just gonna say this. This is gonna be the worst loss the Kansas City Chiefs have in the playoffs to this date. And it will be the worst loss they have while Patrick Mahomes is their quarterback
so
for the
sorry.
remainder
I'm so sorry.
of his stupid career in Kansas City.
It's
Nobody
going to be
believes
worse than the
Bills.
Colts lost to the Colts in 96. It's going to be worse than that.
Which one?
Remember the Colts in 96? Steve Bono threw 4 interceptions. Lon
Oh,
Elliott
no,
missed
this is
3
become
field goals.
Mahomes' worst loss.
No.
Is
Okay.
Mahomes. Bills are going to bitch slap him. That's what I'm saying.
Start the countdown.
Suck
You
it,
just-
Kansas City.
Start the
you just
countdown.
cursed them
Yeah.
so
And
bad, bro.
I know. Thanks. Thanks, Brandon. Countdown, please.
Well, here we go now. Brandon just cursed the Bills. I'm so sorry, everyone. Sacrifice them to the pit. 2019, 18, 17, 16, 15, 4. Brandon Perna, well, he just rigged the score. He said the Bills would win 69-10. But now I don't know what to say. Big Ben, it's a clock. I don't know. I lost the rhyme. I forgot where I was going.
It's all
with it. I'm
good.
tired.
Yeah,
I'm
I
filming.
mean,
It
yeah,
happens,
I know.
it happens dude. We're all busy.
It's just
It happens.
been a really long few weeks. I haven't had a day off in a month. It's
Yeah.
The Bills are going to go play the Bengals on the bye week on their way to the Super Bowl just to make sure they execute or get rid of all their demons.
DeMar Hamlin Bowl.
Literal demons. Like,
Yeah.
literal.
$303
Yes.
and 69 cents.
20909. I did not win.
I got shut out. 0 super chats.
That's actually a good score this
Love
year.
y'all.
You got to get punished for getting $0.
Yeah, there should be a reverse punishment. Like
136. What'd you get, Scoots?
What'd you get,
Scooter?
Scoots?
Yeah,
Scooter, what'd you
Scoot.
get?
How'd
What
you
happened?
do, buddy?
Yeah, what'd you get,
What'd you get?
Scoots?
What'd you get?
I got $1,200.
Oh, baby!
We
That's
need
a
multiple
big
punishments for
punishment.
that one.
Multiple
We need-
punishments.
I feel like he should first start with the Skip Bayless and just throw out all his Cowboys stuff in a receptacle. Start with that and then keep going.
And you have to build a waist level microwave so it's accurate.
Okay, so there's a couple of ideas we can do here.
We're
One,
done.
I do like getting the Decker as eligible shirt. I do like that. That was pretty solid, and we'll have to do something with that.
Ooh.
Perna said last night, as Cole Beasley was tweeting about how he hates men who paint his fingernails, that he has to paint his
thanks, Ty.
fingernails, and tweeted at Cole Beasley, which
Yeah.
would honestly be hysterical.
You got to get
Almost.
Cowboys fingernails painted, and you got
See,
to
I was
tweet it
thinking
at
green and
Cole Beasley.
gold.
Yeah, you
Oh,
got to go to like one of those nail salons and get it done. You know.
Yeah.
Why you not have boyfriend?
It's too late. He already did that. And Scooter crushed it, by the way. You did crush it.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot about that.
You confused a lot of men that day. So I'm gonna say.
I think so. I like the nail polish thing. That would be funny as hell. But Scooter has to be comfortable doing that too.
Listen, I'm comfortable in my own sexuality.
Hell
he,
yeah,
he
let's go,
dressed as a
baby.
Packers cheerleader, and he looked hot too.
That's
would've-
true. I
would
think
smash.
if green and gold nail polish is that accept. We were gonna do Eagles, but I think green and gold is a little better. Green
Yeah.
and gold.
What
makes
was your
me
idea?
cool.
Didn't you have a punishment, Brandon, already like queued up?
That
So
one. There's the nail polish one.
Oh, okay.
green
So,
and
yeah,
gold.
okay, nail.
Listen, I like the. What if it's only if the Lions win for the eligible?
No.
No, I think you should
No.
also have to do that. That's like
So get a
shirt.
Lions eligible jersey.
Oh, you
Taylor
know what?
Decker.
Hold on. I have an idea. I think
Eat
it's
it.
one or two punishments, and it could depend on if the Lions win. or
Taylor
not.
Decker jersey.
You buy a
Ooh.
Decker jersey if they wind up winning, and you tweet at him with you wearing it, and just be like, rooting for you guys in the championship game.
Turned heel.
That's one.
Turned heel. Okay.
Or if they don't, then you paint your nails. So I think it's a win-win either way.
Yeah. We're good. We're good.
All right.
Paint them nails and
I'm with
tweet
you.
at Cole Beasley. So
He
greasily.
got tweeted at Cole Beasley.
I'll
Yep.
tweet it out.
Mhm.
So I'm waiting. So just to be clear, I'm
You're gonna
waiting to
wait.
see. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. And you
All
got to ask Cole to rank your nail job.
Rate
To
your
rate them?
your fit.
Yeah.
Just be like, how'd they look?
I'm down.
Let's go.
Okay. All right. We love you. What do y'all got coming out?
I'm working on a video on David Tepper's Carolina Circus that'll be out tonight.
I'm working on these NFL teams can't hire for shiz. Very bad teams that do not know how to hire a coach. It's very epic.
One of them is probably Carolina.
Carolina is not actually mentioned because their futility has only been the last 3 years. So I'm looking at an overall kind of picture of. I mean, recency bias for
I don't
sure,
think
but
so.
I'm starting my skits on my YouTube channel. The first skit, I think we're trying to make a horror episode called The Clapper. So be on the lookout for that.
I thought I got the clapper once. It was a horror
No.
show.
I bet.
think you're gonna pee and then you just don't. Mhm.
I gotta film the rest of the North. It's gonna be out tonight. It's just gonna be late. It's gonna be like 10 or 11 o'clock probably.
Oh,
But
listen to you apologizing. Like, dude, you've worked for 68 consecutive days,
Yeah, that's
20-hour days. Do
Yeah.
not apologize.
I feel bad though because I want to get it out.
I know that feeling, man.
You'll be
Yeah,
waiting.
I hate that.
I posted a fun little short about how the Cowboys officially tied the Minnesota Vikings for most playoff losses
That's
ever.
a great short. Your best one I think you've ever done.
Yeah, that was fun. And then we got the most heartbreaking playoff losses coming out tomorrow in NFL history.
Is the Cowboys Packers game?
No, I actually said, you know what? I'm gonna take it easy on Dallas because
Packers Seahawks gotta be on
Why
there.
would you do that? Why?
you know because I had so many more interesting things to talk about. I already talked about it.
There are some heartbreaking losses out there.
All right, I'm
Okay.
leaving.
All right.
Bye.
Can we go? All right. We love y'all. Thank you,
Love
everyone.
And click
Yeah,
it.
thanks